Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be using this and a couple of these to create an amazing transformation you're not going to want to miss. So on a recent weekend antiquing, my husband and I picked this piece up. Now every time I go out furniture shopping or antiquing, I'm always looking for something that can be used to hold, contain, or place my houseplants so that I have a cool way to display them and ensure that they are living their best lives. This is actually, believe it or not, an old vintage, I think from, I'm not quite sure, maybe the 50s or 60s. It's a foldable or collapsible wire laundry basket, and it's pretty cool. And the great thing about these is that you can buy reproductions on Amazon, I'm pretty sure. So let me just quickly show you. This thing does fold out. All right, carefully. All right, there we go. So as you can see, this thing does fold open and become this really cool, amazing laundry bin. And I was really excited to have found it because I knew that I would be able to put some houseplants in it and be able to cart it around, which was really cool. But it wasn't until a recent trip to my local nursery that I stumbled upon this vining jasmine, and I really do wish you guys were here to smell this. It's so floral and fragrant. It's just really spectacular. And all of a sudden, I sort of had this idea of using these plants and my antique wire collapsible basket, laundry basket, together to create and transform all of these things into a beautiful sort of home for this jasmine. So stay tuned. I'm gonna show you how to do this entire project, and let me show you the tools that you need to get started. All right, so I just put the jasmine aside to share with you guys the things that you're probably gonna wanna pick this up to make it work. Obviously, this is my own creation, so you might wanna replace certain things with others. You may have stuff that you can use at your house or your home, so there you go. So the first thing that I picked up are two pieces of acrylic. So these still have the sort of plastic coating on them that I'm gonna peel off. That will be very satisfying. So I picked up a square 12-inch by 12-inch piece of acrylic. I also picked up a 12-inch round piece of acrylic. So you're gonna need something like this, both round and square. You're obviously going to need something to, kind of connect your jasmine plant to the trellis that is the laundry basket. So I have some of this left over, but you can use twist ties, string, whatever may work. I also have a pair of shears. I'm not sure if I'm gonna need to use these. And I have this little planting chopstick just to maybe if I need to help weave and guide things through. And I also went ahead and picked up some self-watering pots, and this will make more sense when I get into the crucial care tips for the jasmine. So these are kind of the things that I'm starting with, and like I said earlier, this laundry basket in reproduction form is available on Amazon, so you should be able to pick up all the different tools and pieces you need to be able to actually replicate what I'm creating for you guys today, which is pretty awesome. So let me just put all of this aside, and I'm going to set things up so that I can get ready to transform my collapsible wire laundry basket from the 50s. So the reason for this square piece of acrylic is I'm actually going to use this as a base down below here. And this is where I'm going to put the jasmine, and then I'm going to sort of weave the plant up through the upper part of the wire basket. So again, the reason for this acrylic base is so that it can hold the jasmine in its pots. And the nice thing about using this base is that it can be removed, and it just gives you a little bit more space to play around with when it comes to watering. All right, so let's just peel off. So I finally was able to remove all of the brown coating. That took a little bit longer than I hoped. So you could use a piece of wood, you could use basically a tile. I'm not sure, there's 1,000 possibilities for what you could use for the base on this laundry wire basket. The reason that I've opted to go with this piece of acrylic is that I don't have a woodworking shop or anything like that, so I can't cut a piece of wood to the right size. Also, light can go through the acrylic, and as you'll see, I'm using the round piece too, so I just wanted to keep this a little bit more on the light and airy side, and I think by using the acrylic, that will really help keep this sort of the focus on the jasmine and on the wire basket. All right, so once you have the square piece, that's going to be positioned down on the bottom, and here I have the round piece, so I'm going to peel this one. All right, so the round piece, this is meant for on top of the laundry wire basket. And this is just going to, let's see if I can grab this creatively. All right, oh, there we go. So that's for up here, and it makes a lot more sense maybe for this round piece at the top to be acrylic. And because the plants are gonna be stored down here, the light shouldn't be blocked by this piece, and I'll explain why I'm using this piece a little bit later. So now that we have the acrylic pieces set in, we're ready to set this aside, and I'm going to repot the jasmine. So let me get rid of this, and we'll be ready for that part. All right, so I've picked up some of these self-watering pots, and I've opted to use these for the jasmine for a couple of reasons. One being that jasmine does like the soil to be sort of moist and sort of that evenly consistent moistness, and they do need to be watered pretty frequently. And sort of the genius behind this type of self-watering pot is that for starters, being able to access it under the wire laundry basket and having a system where the water is being drawn up by the base of the roots in the plant. So that's why I've gone ahead and used these. And luckily for me, this portion is basically virtually the same size as the original jasmine pot. So I think it should work really nicely. Yeah, so let me go ahead and get the jasmine plants in their new pots. Okay, so I managed to get the jasmine into these new pots. So as you can see, this is the pot here, and then the string just helps absorb any water that you put in this larger one, hence the whole self-watering thing. And I think this will be a good fit again for the jasmine. Let's move on to the next step. So now that these are in the pots, I want to start to install this in the wire collapsible laundry bin. There are a few things that I want to mention. So I've placed this acrylic piece down here, and the wire basket has sort of this crisscross shape. So I want to place the plant where there isn't any wire below, and that way I can very cleverly remove this piece of acrylic, and then that gives me access to more space, and then I'm able to remove this bottom piece and then, you know, fill it up with more water, etc., and then put it back in, and then put the acrylic piece back in. So I have thought this through a little bit, and that's sort of, you know, some of the thought behind it. So when you are placing the plant, the jasmine plant down below, do make sure that you're putting it on the acrylic, but in a place where once you've moved that acrylic, and that's obviously because once you start twining this through the wire basket, it's going to be sort of stationary and stuck in that position. So you want to make sure that you are positioning the pot in a way that works for, you know, future watering, etc. All right, so now this is when you're going to want your chopstick and your twist ties or whatever you're using to attach the jasmine vines to the laundry basket. So I'm gonna get started and start weaving the plant through, creating, using this as the trellis obviously for this vine. So let me get started. Now it's a good idea, I'm gonna be as careful as I obviously can not to knock off any of the stem or the flowers, etc. So just take your time and go slowly, and just, you know, be as careful as possible. And the reason you're not going to want to get any larger than a foot in diameter for the circular acrylic piece on the top is so that you have that 3 or 4 inches for the plant to kind of grow and come through this top portion. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not sure how much of this wire I'll even need, but maybe I'll secure a little piece up here. I can just go come in after and just cut off any excess wire that I don't need. All right, so that's one piece. I'm just going to turn this a bit and get access to this other sort of longer vine piece. All right, so I think you pretty much get the idea. I'm going to finish weaving this through, and then I'll be right back. All right, so I'm almost done with the first plant, and as you can see, some pieces or some of the vines just aren't long enough, so you know, better to leave these ones until they grow a little bit more. But I've just done my best to get some of these medium-sized ones attached to the lower portion, and then any of the longer ones I've kind of weaved through the upper portion. So that's the first one done. Let me grab the second jasmine plant, and I'm gonna get started on that now. Also, when you're placing the plant, just give it a quick look over. I have a lot more vines on this side, so I'm gonna put this towards the outside, and that will give me more to play with and pull through. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing for this plant, and I'll be right back as soon as this is all attached. All right, so I've basically weaved and taken any of the longer vines, like I said, and put them through as much as I possibly could. When I was using some of this you know, twine, I didn't secure anything too tightly. I left a lot of sort of extra space, so nothing, if it gets tugged a little bit, is going to rip off. I managed to lose 0 flowers, so that's amazing in itself. And I'm gonna get some close-ups so you guys can get a better understanding of what I was talking about with the acrylic base piece and removing that to be able to put water in and water them. All right, so as you guys can see, the acrylic piece doesn't fit the whole way, and that's kind of on purpose as well. And as you can see, the pot is placed where there isn't any of the metal cross wire. So basically this can get pulled all the way out or moved over to the side, and it gives easier access to remove this to then fill it with water, and then that way everything is staying where it needs to, and you're not, you know, destroying the plant every time you need to water it. And the genius about the top round acrylic piece is now that this is just beginning to vine up, I will actually be able to use that to place another plant on there and just create that much more of a really cool sort of jasmine vining house plant centerpiece, or whatever you want to call it. So here you can see I have the round acrylic piece, and because of some of these shorter pieces here that aren't long enough to kind of get them out of the way, if I do place a pot on this or not, whatever the case may be, this way what this does is it allows the sun to still come through, but the plant can't, you know, manage to grow through that portion of the wire basket. So I feel like this top piece is pretty important as well. Thanks for checking out this video. I'm Tyler. If you like what you are seeing or you found this video to be helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, or better yet, you can subscribe to my channel. Miss you guys already. Until the next one, see you next Saturday.